Hello YouTube, this is Keith Kevin Ken. How you doing? How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Time for us to continue the mini series that I started, 2 weeks ago? I think this is episode 16. Why I don't look that up before I start, I don't know. But it's around episode 16. It's the most recent one. I've been doing these every single day. Started before the new year, and now we're still continuing. What used to be in front of me is a whole desk full of knives and some knives behind the desks. Well, we've been whittling these down, and today we're featuring 4 Spydercos that I bought in 2019. Two of them were just released in 2019, and the other two, they were favorites that I sold during one of my trimmings, and I just had to have it back. I lucked up, found this Spyderco collector who had a lot of knives in the safe, hadn't gotten out of the wrapper or out of the box. They were brand new, and I just went down a list of knives I wish I had. And about 60% of those, actually, you'll see them all during this series, but about 60% of those were knives I had but sold to one of you guys during a trimming. And I got it back. But I'm so happy to have all 4 of these knives. So let's talk about them. The first one is a knife that actually Spyderco released in 2019. That was me, not the flipper. Spyderco released in 2019. In fact, I had this knife while I did 2 trimmings. When I say trimming, and that means I sell off parts of my collection to keep it sort of manageable. And I didn't even offer this knife because I loved it so much. Most of it is because of the profile of this knife. It is just unbelievable. 3 of these 4 knives, it's more about the profile, and they really just make me excited about them. This is the Spyderco Ikuchi, Ikuchi. It was released in 2019 by Spyderco. Really an interesting knife. Super interesting. It was one of the first knives that Spyderco had that was both a flipper and it had a compression lock. You've noticed a lot of Spyderco's recent knives that are flippers, they've included a compression lock with them. But while the other ones, part of putting a compression lock with a flipper is usually you close it, the little flipper is out here, then you flip it open, and then when you use the compression lock from the back here, you close the compression lock, the blade comes down, and then the flipper hits you just around this part. So you have to remove your finger. In this case, though, they created not only the compression lock part of this, it is a flipper, but there isn't the regular traditional flipper. Instead, it's what they call the wheel flipper. You see that right there? It's a wheel. Spyderco has said it, and I agree. It's like the flipping that you do on a cigarette lighter. You know, it has ridges there. Some people can flip them like this. They do their lighters. I find flipping this knife is better this way, but I've seen it done both ways. And so it keeps it compact. It's a brand new way. It comes back, but it comes back away from the compression lock. You see it coming back up here, not down here with the compression lock. It's out of the way. This knife also, with that wheel flipper, it keeps it so compact. This is a super thin knife. Super. When you put it in your pocket with that wire clip, it disappears. It gets out of the way. I just love this knife. And I like knives like this because I spent a lot of time in offices. So I'm a big gentleman's folders person. Huge gentleman's folders person. And this is like a gentleman's folder. Another thing, it seems like a small knife. It isn't. It's a bigger knife. It's just how thin it is and how it's put together. Now, every time I have flipped this, there we go. You notice it flips out, but when I'm talking and I'm not thinking and I go to flip, I'm so used to the regular flipper that it catches me off guard. This does flip. There is nothing wrong with that wheel flipper. It flips and it flips well. So let's talk about this S35VN steel, full flat ground blade, nice and thin. Of course, the compression lock, Spyderco's compression lock is very strong. This has a 3.3-inch blade. The entire length is 7.6 inches. This is not a small knife, but it only weighs, listen to this, 2.1 ounces. It is super light, super thin. It has carbon fiber on top of G10 for the scales. It has a hole in it. When I first got it, I was like, why you got a hole in it? But that's an indexing thing. So, you know, if you reach up, you see there's the hole, you know that's the flipper edge of it. It is everything. Actually, it's not everything I expected. It surprised me. There was a lot of why, huh? What? Huh? But when I got it, I just haven't wanted to let it go. So that's this knife with the wire clip, tip up only, right hand or left hand, and that's because of the compression lock. It's the Ikuchi, and I really like this knife, obviously. You know, Blade HQ, I sold 3 other Blade HQ exclusives during 2019. They came out and I sold them fast. And I miss them, especially my Shaman I sold. Without even giving it a thought, I would love to still have that back. But I never sold this one. This was before we got the Dodo. We got the Black Blade. Man, I hope they do a Black Blade Dodo. Sometimes they do the satin and the black. Sometimes they don't. Oh, please do a Black Blade Dodo. Anyway, this is not a Dodo. This is the Yojimbo 2. I think it is, with that Wharncliffe blade, one of the best EDC knives and a wonderful tactical knife. It actually was put together as a tactical knife. So you have this Wharncliffe blade, but you have it come down quickly into a super point. It punctures and then goes in as it widens out. So it is a very, very, very defensive blade, but a super, super EDC knife as well. Of course, they did the Blade HQ treatment of this with the G10 all black hardware matching the black blade. Is that nice or what? That natural G10. Now the natural G10 comes off as a super light, you see that? Super light green. And it's see-through, but just really nice. 4-way clip, left hand, right hand, tip up, tip down, and with the Yojimbo 2, the compression lock. And can you see how it just falls? Compression lock and just falls down with this coated blade. It also has Crucible's M4 steel. So it has a super, super steel. Yeah, Blade HQ did their Blade HQ-ness on this. The Yojimbo 2 sold out in minutes, just like all of their stuff. Man, it just came to me though. I hope they do a dodo with a black blade. Anyway, I love this Yojimbo too. I still have an original Yojimbo with black G10 that I'm in love with, and I still have, that I never offered up for sale. I just love that. So that with that modern Yojimbo 2 is just great. This is a knife that I loved for so long, and then I sold it to one of you guys, so I hope you're enjoying it. I found it in 2019 in pristine new condition. It's the Spyderco Chokwe. Talk about another, again, a lot of these knives, the profile, how it feels in your hand and in the pocket. The Chokwe is one of those. It's just super light and a bigger knife. 3.7-inch blade. The total length is 8.5 inches. Weighs 3.7 ounces. And again, it's not a Warncliffe blade, but it's very tactical, almost like the Yojimbo 2, and very good for EDC. S30V steel. One reason it's for a big knife, it's not that heavy. See-through construction, and again, holes through the G10. It's a grippy G10, but not too grippy, but grippy enough. And how it comes and winds out at the end so that it keeps that hand in place. Titanium on the back side, on the lock side, with that frame lock. This is a really nice knife. I'm happy it's back in the collection. It's the Spyderco Chokwe. And then the last knife that I sold and wanted back. I used to think people, when I first started collecting, first I thought I'd never sell my knives. But I'll tell you, I have 5 huge Pelican cases, okay? And full of knives. 3 1500s and 1 1650. And so there are 5 of them. And they are really packed tight in there. And so, you know, it takes up room, plus all the boxes and everything of each knife. But, oh, I love this knife. I always call it my Art Deco knife. It's the Spyderco Des Horn, named after the designer, Des Horn. And, oh, it just feels nice. Again, it's that shape, right? Just a nice thin shape with the wire clip. In this case, opens up with the Spidey hole. And look at the profile once the blade is in. Now, it has that flourish on the edge. That's kind of that Art Deco-ish stuff. But just smooth when it comes out. Liner lock. Smooth G10. With cut-in design, it gives you some grip on the smooth G10. Spyderco does smooth G10 like no other. This is a knife that is only right hand tipped down. Only right hand tipped down. But look at that blade. I love it. 3.1-inch blade. Like I said, S30V steel from Crucible. 7.2 inches total. And only, listen to this, only weighs 2 ounces. It's so light. It's so beautiful. Again, a nice gentleman's folder. But it's not that sub 3-inch kind of knife. Super light. Beautiful. Just a real nice gentleman's folder. So those are the 3 knives that I bought. 3 more knives, right? That I bought in 2019. I told you, people have said, how many knives are there? I haven't counted. But I told you before, I went through digging out all the knives I bought in 2019 out of the cases. And when I put them on there, I realized I had a problem. I bought so many knives. This is the 15th video in the series all of the series that have done at least 4 knives, some of them 5 and 6 knives at a pop. So there's a lot of knives there. If you're enjoying the series, don't forget to thumb it up, subscribe, so when I do decide to trim, you know that I'm doing a sale. Subscribe, turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the videos. Take good care of yourselves. Keep those pockets full. Goodbye.